In a remote village on the edge of a dense, ominous forest, there stood a house that had been abandoned for as long as anyone could remember. The villagers whispered tales of unspeakable horrors that had taken place there, stories passed down through generations. It was said that a family had once lived in the house, a mother, father, and their 2 children, but they had all mysteriously disappeared one night, leaving only the echoes of their screams behind. For decades, no one dared to enter the house. Its windows were shattered, and the roof sagged as if the house itself were weary of the weight of its dark secrets. The garden had long been overgrown with weeds, and the trees surrounding the house seemed to stretch their twisted branches toward it, as if trying to reclaim it into the forest. On a stormy night, 3 friends, Jake, Sarah, and Tom, decided to put the old legends to the test. They were drawn to the thrill of the unknown and convinced themselves that the stories were just superstitions. Armed with flashlights and a video camera, they approached the haunted house, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. As they pushed open the creaking front door, a gust of cold air greeted them, carrying with it the smell of decay and dust. The floorboards groaned under their feet as they stepped inside. The house was eerily quiet, except for the distant rumble of thunder outside. Cobwebs hung like curtains in every corner, and the walls were stained with years of neglect. The friends began to explore, their flashlights casting long, eerie shadows that danced across the walls. As they ventured deeper into the house, strange things started to happen. Sarah felt a cold hand brush against her arm, but when she turned, there was no one there. Jake saw a fleeting shadow dart across the hallway, but when he followed, it vanished into thin air. Tom, trying to keep his nerves steady, joked about the ghosts, but his voice trembled with uncertainty. They soon found an old diary hidden in a dusty drawer, its pages yellowed with age. As they flipped through the pages, they discovered the horrifying story of the family who had once lived there. The diary spoke of strange noises in the night, mysterious illnesses, and an ever-growing sense of dread that consumed the family. The last entry was a desperate plea for help, written in shaky handwriting. "They're coming for us. We can't escape." Suddenly, the house seemed to come alive. The front door slammed shut on its own, trapping them inside. The air grew thick with an oppressive presence, and a low guttural moan echoed through the halls. The friends were no longer alone. The spirits of the lost family had awakened, their wrathful souls seeking vengeance on anyone who dared to enter their domain. Panic set in as the friends tried to find a way out. The walls seemed to close in on them, and the temperature dropped to a bone-chilling cold. Tom was the first to fall prey to the spirits, dragged screaming into the darkness by invisible hands. Jake and Sarah, now separated, frantically searched for a way to escape the house's grasp. In a final desperate act, Sarah remembered the diary. She frantically searched for the page that described a ritual to appease the spirits. As she began the ritual, the house shook violently. The spirits' anger grew more intense. The walls cracked and the ceiling began to collapse, but she continued, chanting the ancient words written in the diary. Just as the house seemed on the verge of completely falling apart, the spirits' cries grew fainter, and the oppressive presence began to lift. The ritual worked. The spirits, now appeased, faded into the shadows, and the house fell silent once more. Jake, barely conscious, found Sarah among the debris. Together, they stumbled out of the ruined house, the storm still raging around them.